All right. I'm here with Polk Brown, my annual golf coach extraordinaire. I appreciate you showing up again, Polk, and talking to me. I like to have you down when I can. I know you're busy this weekend and or that next weekend. And I wanted to get you back on and let you talk to us a little bit about the things we normally talk about, which is, first of all, just tell us about TTU and how it's going up there.
Yeah, so this is my 13th year coaching the teams. I'm now the assistant for the women and the head coach for the men. We changed over to that about 3 years ago. So it's been a long road. It's been a fun road, and we're excited for another season, and just excited to kind of see what the guys and the girls can both do for this year.
Good. How many players you have right now?
So we've got 9 men, and we have, I believe, 10 women on the team.
Women. Good. How many of those are going to graduate this year?
We have 3 guys that will be leaving us after this year, and oh goodness, 2 girls that will be leaving us.
Is that right? So have you filled your roster for next year so far?
We're working on it. I think we'll here in a few weeks we'll see who's going to be joining us, but I think things are looking pretty good.
Good. So tell us how you go about recruiting. How soon do you like to commit kids, boys particularly, and how many do you normally accept each year?
So I guess what you consider a mid-major school, like a smaller mid-major school. So typically for us, we're getting commitments hopefully a year to 18 months out. So, for example, for the 2025 class, it would be, in a perfect world, we'd love to figure out who's going to join us probably next summer. I mean, certainly sooner if we can, but more than likely, next summer or early next fall. And as far as how many, I mean, it really depends on the class, but roster size usually is between 8 to 9 players. I like to keep it around 9. Just it's a little easier that way, I guess. Like 3 threesomes, things like that. I mean, we've had 8 or 7 on the team before, but that was years ago when I first got the job. And but normally, somewhere 8, 9, 10, somewhere in that range is normally a good number for us.
Right. So, and when you have those players, you play normally about 4 tournaments in the fall, 4 or 5, and maybe 4 or 5 before your postseason starts in the spring. Is that pretty much accurate?
Right. So normally it's 5 and 5 or 5 and 6. So we've done 4 in the fall and 6 in the spring. Usually it's going to be 10 tournaments, counting conference. Sometimes I think we've done 11 before, but it's been a little while since that's happened. Like to kind of keep it even both semesters, but if we see some more opportunities in one semester compared to the other, then we might switch it up a little bit. But typically you're looking at 10 or 11 events across the entire school year.
Okay, so when a kid wants to consider Tennessee Tech, what's his first avenue of reaching out? Do you like email and try to get them to contact you personally?
I do like email. I mean, we get a lot of them, but I mean, I think for the young men and women that are going to be there at your tournament, I would just encourage them to, when they send emails, make sure that it's personal. Like, I mean, one thing we don't really like seeing is, well, an email that's sent to us, but they're talking about another school because they copy and paste it. That's never good. I don't personally like to see an email that's sent out and I can see where he sent it to other schools as well. I mean, I understand why someone would do that, but I think that just tells me that they need to pay a little bit more attention to detail, things like that, and make it personal to Tennessee Tech or the University of Tennessee or wherever. It doesn't really matter, but that'll get our attention right away. I think, with your resume, your academics, your school, your tournaments, I think your tournaments, you should start with what's most recent and then work your way back. We need to see a body of work. We don't want to see, well, coach, I played 10 tournaments last year. I had 4 fifth place finishes and 3 second place finishes. And I mean, that doesn't really tell me anything because, I mean, the field size could be like 10 people, so I mean, it needs to be very, very detailed. very detailed. But no, emails is good, and then of course your contact information should be on there. And if we feel like we're going to take the next step, then we'll kind of move over into a phone call or texting, and then kind of take it from there.
What kind of sparks your interest when you start taking a look at these emails and then you start saying, okay, this kid played where and how? What's your most interesting look? Do you look at the scoreboards? Do you look at local tournaments? Do you look at high school tournaments?
I think high school golf, unless it's just I think nowadays when I played, like, it was a lot bigger, but now it's more of like just junior events, as far as, like, obviously the SNEDS tour and state events, things like that. 9-hole matches in high school, really, unless you're shooting like 5, 4, 5, 6 under every time, something like that. I don't think that's going to get as much traction as maybe, like, playing terms that are outside of high school golf. Certainly the state championships are important, but most of the time most of my recruiting takes place over the summer. So being able to play events that are multiple day events instead of single day events is huge. One day is just, anybody can play an amazing round of golf in one day. We need to kind of see, like, how are you playing over the course of several days? Like, how do you respond to a bad day? How do you respond to a really good day? Things like that. AJGA is important, but it's not, for me, I'm not living and dying on AJGA stuff. Junior golf scoreboard, do look at that every once in a while, but I really just want to see somebody's resume, get out there and watch them play. And they just need to be very detailed in the information they send with their tournament results. And it should be multiple day events, not just like a single day event. That's much better than just a single day.
Right. And you spoke to a second about how character plays a big role. I know from experience and all the times you've talked with me and the kids and talked to people at my tournament, how important those things are to you.
Yeah.
And grades, especially. I know Tennessee Tech is not an easy academic school, so they have to have some standing in the classroom. Speak to that just a minute.
Character is very important. I think the way we are there to watch golf, but the way they deal with adversity on the golf course, the way they deal with their parents, as far as like how they talk to them, the kind of respect they show them, the kind of respect they show their playing competitors, the starter, the respect they show the golf course. Just if they hit a bad shot, if you're slamming clubs or whatever, like, those are red flags. Just how you handle bad shots, things like that. Those are all things we really pay attention to. And then, yes, as far as like academics are concerned, we do look at that. Typically, if you're a pretty good student in high school, and you take a lot of, like, I guess, higher level courses, things like that, that tends to bleed over into college. It's going to kind of show a little bit more about, like, your structure and how you go about your day-to-day things. We've had students that maybe didn't do as well in high school, but then they flourish in college. But a lot of times, if we look at your track record in high school and your grades, that's important. We got to look at that stuff. But as far as golf course is concerned, just the way you act, the way you conduct yourself. We're only around you a short amount of time, so we have to make judgments. Sometimes maybe not the fairest thing after you're only being around a kid for a couple times. But look, you used to be that old commercial, you never get a second chance to make a first impression or whatever that was, with that shampoo or whatever it was. But, like, it's true. It really is true. So you have to be mindful of those things.
Well, I appreciate you talking to that. A couple of other things. What kind of conditioning do you require at Tennessee Tech as far as conditioning for golfers?
Oh, yeah. Yep. So we usually we work out as a team somewhere in the neighborhood of like 18 to 25 times together in the fall. And then we'll kind of dial it down just a little bit in the spring. We'll go anywhere from one time a week to 3 times a week, depending on our travel schedule. This year, for example, we're working out at 10 till 6 in the morning, and they're usually out at like 6:45. So you better get your rest. You better set a lot of alarms, because you certainly don't want to be late. But no, it's the strength program does a really good job, and I think every program should have that. But no, it's important, and I think they should be taking care of stuff like that on their own as well. I mean, it's taken on a life of its own, I think, way more now in recent years than maybe, again, back when I was in college. But no, it's something that we do a couple times a week, just about every week until the season winds down, and then we pick it back up in the spring.
Yeah, it's kind of incredible how the athleticism's kind of bleeded into golf and how it's gotten more and more important, especially guys hitting the ball 375 yards off the tee and stuff.
Yeah.
It's gotten pretty competitive.
Right.
We can't stay on too much longer because last year we went too long and messed up the tape. But I want to thank you again for all of you done for my tournament. You've come down when I've asked you to several times. I think it's been very, very helpful to all the kids that have heard from you and for me and personally about how to address what kids need to do as far as developing their game. So thanks again, Polk, and good luck to you coming up in this season and next spring.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you for having me, and good luck to all y'all out there at the tournament. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Polk.
Mm-hmm.